The other line that came to me in A Course in Miracles, where it uses the word problem, said this: if you do have a problem, the only problem you have is your belief that you are separate from your source. The moment that we took on this idea that we were separate from our source and no longer believed in our own integrity of our own mind, the moment that we took on that, we began to develop something called problems, something called illusions. And I'd like to suggest to you that every problem that we have, the way I see it, is nothing more than a mistake or an illusion. And how do we do something about these mistakes that we have? They are in our minds. You know, it says very clearly in most of the spiritual literature, as a man thinketh, so is he. Emerson, one of the people that we revere, who lived right here in Concord, said that the ancestor to every action is a thought. Once you start to understand that what you think about, your thoughts, is what expands and becomes your life, you start getting real careful about what you think about. Real careful. So that when you have a thought that says, gee, I got a sniffle, it's in my nose, but tomorrow it'll probably be down here in my throat. And on Wednesday, it's probably going to be here in my chest. Always seems to happen this way. And on Thursday, I'm going to have a fever. I get one every time. You can just about count on it. I'm going to have to take Friday off. Now, it's Monday morning, and you got a sniffle, but in your mind, in your thoughts, you're taking Friday off with a fever, and lo and behold, your body begins to react to this thought, which is just a mistake of the intellect to begin with. Supposing that you had a belief system that said 2 + 2 is 7. For some reason, you were just hung up on this idea. And you said 2 + 2 is 7, and you took your calculator and you reformulated it in such a way so that it would appear to be 2 + 2 is 7. And then you tried to balance your checkbook, and you tried to make your life work based upon this formulation, that 2 + 2 is 7. You would find that your life would be out of balance financially virtually all of the time. Every time you push that button and push those numbers, nothing would ever work. So the question is, what do I do in order to correct this mistake in my thinking? And that's where the word solution comes in. But we can't bring the solution in until we understand that everything that we have, do you know that every relationship that you're in right now, every single person watching this, every relationship you're in is in your mind. You can't get behind the eyeballs of another human being and be them. All you can do is process them through your thoughts. Now, if your thoughts about the person that you love are about what is wrong, about what you don't like, about what they ought to be, about what they used to be, about how they disappoint you, about how bad they talk, about their language, about anything at all, if that's what you're thinking about, what you think about is what expands, more of what you're thinking about will continue to show up in your life, whether you like it or not. It's one of the great ironies. I always tell people that if you understood this concept, the best way to do it is to put it in terms of money. If I had $1 million, and I were to take this $1 million, and I were to give it to you, and I'd say, this purpose of this $1 million is for you to go out to the mall, and every store you come to where you see something that you really like, you're to purchase it. Any place you go, whatever you like, you purchase it. So you take this $1 million and say, this is great. You walk into the first store that you see, and there's a rug there that's just appalling. It's hideous. It's just awful. It doesn't match anything in your house, and it costs $10,000. And you look at that thing and say, ugh, I would never want that. Here's $10,000. Send it home. Now you go to the next store in the mall, and it's got a lamp in it that matches the rug, all right? And you look at this hideous lamp and you say, that's the worst looking thing I've ever seen. Send 2 of those home, and they cost $5,000 a piece. So far, you've taken your money and you've spent $20,000 of it on what you don't want. And all day long, every time you saw something that you didn't want, you spent your energy, your money, on sending it home. Then you get home and you say to yourself, why is my house filled with all of this stuff that I don't want? And the answer is, you're crazy. This is called insanity. You have energy to spend it on what you do want, yet you continue to use it to purchase what you don't want. And the metaphor here is that your thoughts work exactly the same way. The energy that you have for creating what you want is in your thoughts. And if you want your relationship to be divine and to be perfect and to be beautiful, then you have to begin to think the kinds of thoughts that are going to create that for you. If, on the other hand, you put your thoughts on what the person isn't, what they ought to be, what they used to be, what you think is wrong, you'll see more of that showing up. And it works in everything in your life. Changing your mind, changing your thoughts is how we change the problems, if you will, that we face in our life.
There is a truth that echoes beneath the noise of this world. It is not loud. It does not beg for attention. It whispers softly but persistently beneath every breath you take and every doubt you hold. And it says, you are already whole. You are already worthy. You are already love. Not because of what you do, not because of what you own, but because of what you are. A divine being wrapped in a temporary form, here not to earn love, but to remember it. You see, somewhere along the way, we were taught to equate self-love with arrogance, with pride, with vanity. We were told to keep ourselves small, humble to the point of invisibility, quiet to the point of silence. We were trained to apologize for our light, to dim it so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable in its presence. But I am here to tell you that self-love is not vanity. It is not ego. It is not some inflated image puffed up by the approval of others. It is not a mask you wear, but the moment you take all masks off. It is not insanity. It is sanity. It is not selfishness. It is salvation. When you deny yourself love, you don't become more generous. You become more wounded. And the wounded, when unaware, wound others. A soul that has not been fed with its own acceptance will forever seek approval from others, like a starving child crying at the gate of a closed home. And the tragedy is this: the gate was never locked. It was never even real. It was a phantom created by your mind, a barrier built by belief. And you, my dear friend, are the builder and the breaker of that gate. To love yourself is not to place yourself above others, but to return to alignment with who you've always been, beneath the fear, beneath the roles, beneath the endless striving. You are not what this world convinced you to become. You are not your bank account. You are not your resume. You are not your mistakes. You are not the story your past tries to sell you. You are the breath behind the story. You are the awareness watching the storm, not the storm itself. And yet, we chase love as though it's outside of us. We chase it in people, in praise, in performance, but the heart knows the truth. Love that must be earned is not love, it's a transaction. And the soul cannot survive on transactions. It needs communion. It needs truth. And truth begins when you stop chasing and start returning. When you stop fighting for scraps and remember the feast has always been within. You were never meant to beg for what you are. You were never meant to prove yourself worthy of your own embrace. That is the madness the world taught you. That is the distortion that must be undone. You see, you don't heal by becoming someone new. You heal by remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Before shame crept in, before guilt whispered its lies, before comparison choked your joy, you heal by coming home. And home, my dear, is within. It's not in the mirror's approval. It's in the mirror's forgiveness. When you look into your own eyes and say, I see you, I love you. You don't have to be perfect anymore to be worthy of peace. That's when the shift begins. That's when the veil lifts. That's when the soul sighs in relief and whispers, finally, you remembered. And so I ask you, what would happen if you stopped trying to be lovable and simply loved yourself? Not when you succeed, not when you fix all your flaws, but now as you are, in this breath, with the mess and the miracle all mixed in. What would happen if you honored your scars instead of hiding them? What if they weren't proof of brokenness, but proof of bravery? Every crack in you is an opening for light. Every wound is a portal for wisdom. And every moment you choose to embrace yourself rather than abandon yourself, you rise. Not above others, but back into alignment with the divine pulse of life that created you. God did not create you to hate yourself. Life did not gift you breath so you could suffocate beneath your own judgment. The universe is not against you. The universe is within you, waiting for you to realign with your original frequency, and that frequency is love. Love that does not need a reason. Love that does not flinch when you falter. Love that does not withdraw when you make a mistake. Love that says, you are sacred still. This love does not scream, it does not argue, it does not compete, it simply is. And it is the most sane, most grounding, most healing energy you will ever know, and it begins when you stop outsourcing your worth. No one out there can give you what your own heart has the power to offer. And the moment you recognize this is the moment you stop begging and start being. The moment you realize self-love is not just a practice, it is a return to reality. The insanity was believing you were separate from your source. The sanity is remembering you never were. You were not born with doubt. You learned it. You were not born with shame. It was handed to you. You didn't arrive on this planet afraid to love yourself. You were conditioned into thinking that self-celebration was arrogance, that self-compassion was weakness, that to speak kindly to yourself was somehow self-indulgent. But the soul knows better. The soul never buys into that noise. The soul knows that honoring yourself is not egotism, it's equilibrium. It is the necessary homecoming to balance a world that has tried to pull you away from your center. Think for a moment about the tree. It does not question the space it takes up. It does not shrink to make the forest more comfortable. It does not apologize for its blossoming, or its roots, or its reach toward the sun. It simply grows not in competition with the others, but in full expression of what it was always destined to be. And so must you. You do not owe the world an apology for your light. You owe it your truth. You owe it your wholeness. You owe it the example of what it looks like when a person returns to their sacred self and finally stops running. Because you can run for a long time, my friend. You can run from your hurt. You can run from your reflection. You can run into careers, into relationships, into endless distractions that keep you too busy to feel. But there will come a moment, and perhaps this is it, when the running exhausts you, when even your distractions start to feel hollow. When the version of you that you built to survive no longer fits the version of you that is ready to live. And when that moment comes, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's the crack in the shell where the light gets in. That's the beginning of sanity. Not the sanity the world defines through boxes and metrics and control, but the deeper sanity of the soul. The sanity of remembrance, of clarity, of sacred stillness. The sanity that arises when you no longer try to earn your right to exist, but simply breathe in your own being as enough. And it is enough. You are enough. The caterpillar does not earn the right to become the butterfly. It simply surrenders to the process. It goes into the cocoon, it dissolves, it dies to the old form, and emerges in newness. What looks like death to the outside world is actually transformation. And perhaps what feels like crumbling within you is simply the old architecture falling away so the divine blueprint of your soul can be rebuilt, not in shame, but in love. That's what self-love does. It rebuilds you from the inside out. It doesn't fix you because you were never broken. It frees you from the illusion that you had to be fixed. It invites you to sit in your own silence, to touch the parts of you you've abandoned, and to say to them, you are safe now. I am here. I'm not going to leave myself again. Imagine the power of that. Imagine being the sanctuary you've always sought. Imagine walking through the world not looking to be validated, but to express truth. Not needing to prove anything, but simply to be a living, breathing embodiment of love itself. That is not ego. That is presence. That is your birthright. But this path isn't loud. It doesn't shout for recognition. It's not about performance. It's about depth. And depth requires courage. It takes a sacred kind of bravery to look at yourself unfiltered, unguarded, and to still choose love, to still choose forgiveness, to still say, even here, even now, especially now, I love you. You can't fake that. You can't manufacture it through affirmations alone. You must feel it. You must return to the inner child who once wondered if they were too much or not enough, and whisper, you were never too much, and you were never not enough. You were always exactly who you were meant to be. This is the kind of love that liberates. It's the kind that doesn't depend on your past, your performance, or your popularity. It is the love that sees through the masks, through the defenses, through the survival patterns, and still says yes, still stays, still believes. And that, my friend, is sanity. True sanity is alignment. It is when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all stem from love, not fear. When your life is no longer a reaction to pain, but a creation from peace. When your value is no longer negotiable. Because you've made peace with the one person who was always the gatekeeper. You. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot serve the world by diminishing yourself. Your presence, when rooted in truth, is a gift. Your joy is medicine. Your boundaries are wisdom. Your radiance is not a threat. It is a permission slip to others who've forgotten how to shine. But that light must be turned inward first. That love must be born in the quiet places of your heart, where no one is watching and no one is clapping. That's where the real work happens. That's where transformation takes root. And when it does, when you begin to choose love over loathing, kindness over criticism, and stillness over striving, you become a lighthouse. Not a lifeboat, not a rescuer, but a lighthouse. Simply standing in your truth, shining from within, and reminding others you can come home too. When you begin to love yourself truly and without condition, the world doesn't necessarily change, but the way you see it does. The same streets, the same people, the same circumstances all begin to soften through the lens of compassion you first extend to yourself. And in that shift, what once felt like chaos begins to feel like choreography. You start to understand that everything that hurt you was never meant to break you, it was meant to wake you. To invite you to become more intimate with the sacred truth you've ignored, that you are not lacking. You are learning. You are not falling behind. You are unfolding. Self-love is not a destination you reach with a checklist. It is not a mood, a trend, or a curated morning ritual. It is a radical, ongoing act of grace. It's how you treat yourself when no one is watching. It's the gentleness you offer your mind when it races. It's the forgiveness you extend when you falter. It's how you hold your own hand when the world turns cold. It's the whisper in the dark that says, even now, I will not abandon you. Because sanity, true spiritual sanity, is not about being calm all the time or having it all together. It is about returning again and again to the awareness that you are not the noise in your mind. You are the space it moves through. You are not the wound. You are the witness. You are not the pain. You are the presence that can hold it. And that shift, that inner knowing, brings peace, not because life becomes easier, but because you become anchored. And when you are anchored in self-love, life loses its power to control you. Other people's opinions may still be loud, but they no longer own you. Their approval no longer determines your peace. Their disapproval no longer dictates your worth. You realize that you were never created to be edited by external expectations. You were created to be whole. You were created to be free. And freedom begins when the shackles of self-rejection fall off. You start to live differently. You speak more softly to yourself. You stop waiting for perfection and begin to dance with your humanity. You stop proving and start breathing. You stop reaching for something more and begin embracing what already is. And from that place, a quiet confidence rises, not loud, not boastful, but rooted. The kind of confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. It simply exists, like a mountain, like the ocean, like the soul that no longer fears being seen. And in that state of sanity, you stop trying to be lovable and realize you are love. Not as a concept, not as a motivational quote, but as your essence, as your very breath, as the truth you carry in every cell. You see that your existence is not an accident, not a mistake, not a detour, but a divine appointment. You are here to remember, to realign, to reclaim. You are here not to become better, but to remember you were never less. You are here to embody, not to impress. You are here to be, not to become, because being pure, present, unapologetic being is the most powerful gift you could ever offer the world. And when you touch that truth, even briefly, the search ends. You are no longer chasing worthiness. You are no longer addicted to validation. You are no longer trying to fix what was never broken. You have come home. And in that home, there is quiet, there is love, there is clarity. There is you, not the version they wanted, not the mask you wore, but the real, radiant, raw you. And that, dear soul, is more than enough. There will come a moment, and perhaps it's arriving now, where you feel the weight of all the roles you've been performing, and you will quietly, maybe even tearfully, begin to lay them down. Not because you failed in them, but because you finally saw through them. You'll no longer need to be the strong one all the time, or the quiet one, or the successful one, or the agreeable one. You'll no longer need to be what others projected onto you, because you'll have found something more powerful than any performance. You'll have found presence. And presence cannot be faked. It doesn't wear a costume. It doesn't adjust itself to win applause. Presence just is. It is the stillness in you that no trauma could touch, no shame could stain, and no lie could bury forever. Presence is what remains when all the illusions fall away. And you meet it not by climbing, but by surrendering. Not by acquiring more, but by releasing what no longer serves. When you love yourself, you begin to understand the wisdom in letting go. Not out of indifference, but out of reverence. You let go of the story that says you must earn rest. You let go of the belief that your worth is tied to your productivity. You let go of the assumption that you are only lovable when you please others. You release it all, not in anger, not in resistance, but in peace. You begin to see that self-love is not about adding more to yourself. It's about peeling back the layers of everything that was never truly you. And beneath those layers, there is a quiet purity, a softness that is not weakness, but wisdom, a grace that doesn't scream, but heals, a joy that isn't loud, but deep and steady, like an ancient river that never needed permission to flow. The soul doesn't compete. It doesn't compare. It doesn't rush. It simply flows with clarity and trust because it knows where it comes from and where it's returning to. And that is the sanity of self-love. It aligns you with your natural rhythm. It brings you back into harmony with your source. And once you are in tune with that sacred frequency, life begins to support you in ways you once thought impossible. You attract differently, you speak differently, you move through the world with an inner light that requires no spotlight. and you stop waiting for someone to choose you, for a future version of yourself to arrive, for the perfect moment to begin, you realize the choosing starts with you. The healing starts with you. The permission starts with you. No one is coming to give you the love you keep withholding from yourself. And the beautiful, liberating truth is, they don't need to, because that love has always been here. Like the sky above the clouds, untouched, unchanged, ever present, waiting for you to look inward, waiting for you to return. And when you do, when you look in the mirror and see not a project to fix, but a soul to love, you finally understand self-love is not indulgence. It is not vanity. It is sanity. It is the remembering of who you truly are beneath it all. It is the return to your sacred, luminous, limitless self. Now, as we reach the final moments of this journey, let us pause for a moment and take in the vastness of what we have uncovered. The truth has been unfolding like the petals of a flower, each layer revealing something deeper, something more intimate. It is not just the words that we have spoken today, nor the thoughts that we have entertained, but the very essence of who you are, the divine, the eternal, the unshakable presence that has always been there, waiting to be recognized. Self-love is not a luxury. It is the lifeblood of your existence. The breath you take, the thoughts you think, the steps you take upon this earth, they all spring from the well of love that resides within you. And when you come to fully own this truth, when you no longer seek validation from external sources, but instead draw from the infinite well of your own soul, you begin to experience something truly miraculous. You begin to understand that the peace you seek, the joy that eludes you, the sense of purpose that feels just out of reach, it was never anywhere but within you. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are not waiting to be saved by someone or something outside of you. The power, the beauty, the clarity you've been seeking is you. It has always been you. In this moment, feel the weight of this truth. It is not heavy, though it may feel overwhelming at first. It is the weight of your own divinity. It is the weight of owning your worth, of seeing yourself not through the eyes of the world, but through the eyes of God. It is the weight of finally acknowledging that you are not just a person living in the world, but a spark of the divine, an embodiment of love, peace, and power. When you stand in your truth, unafraid and unashamed of who you are, you release the need for approval. You stop seeking to prove your worth because you know deep within your bones that you are enough. You are worthy of all that the universe has to offer. The universe responds to you not because of your actions, but because of your energy, the energy you radiate when you know that you are worthy, when you know that you are whole, when you know that you are loved. There is a profound shift that happens when you begin to love yourself. It's not just a shift in how you view yourself, it is a shift in how the world interacts with you. The energy you give off creates ripples in the world around you. Your relationships change, your work shifts, the way you engage with the people you encounter, the way you move through the world, it all transforms because you are no longer seeking to fill a hole. You are no longer seeking to gain something you don't already have. Instead, you are sharing from a place of abundance, from a place of wholeness. And it is here, in this space of full ownership, where you begin to understand that self-love is not vanity, it is sanity. It is the foundation upon which everything else must be built. It is the soil that nourishes the seed of your true potential. Without self-love, you cannot access the fullness of your power. Without self-love, you cannot align with the infinite wisdom that flows through you. Without self-love, you remain disconnected from the truth of who you are and the divine purpose that is yours alone to fulfill. But with self-love, you are free. You are free to be yourself, to express yourself, to create from a place of true authenticity. No longer do you need to perform, no longer do you need to shrink or hide, no longer do you need to apologize for your existence. You are here in this moment as you were always meant to be whole, complete, and radiant. It is in this place of ownership that the soul ascends into full alignment with the divine. There is no longer any resistance to the flow of grace, no longer any struggle between who you are and who you are becoming. You become the living embodiment of your truth, and in that truth you find your freedom, you find your peace, and as you stand in this freedom, know this: you are the reflection of the divine. You are the creation of the universe itself, crafted with love, with intention, with purpose. The universe does not make mistakes. It does not create anything without reason. Your life, your existence is no accident. You are here for a purpose: to love, to serve, to grow, to create, to be. And when you embrace the fullness of who you are, when you embrace your divine identity, you align with that purpose. And as you do so, you will find that the world around you begins to mirror this truth back to you. The doors that once seemed closed will open wide. The struggles that once seemed insurmountable will become stepping stones. The relationships that once felt draining will transform into powerful sources of support and connection. The work you do, the life you lead, will become a reflection of your inner peace, your inner love, and your inner power. But this journey, this transformation, is not a one-time event. It is a continuous unfolding. Each moment is an opportunity to reaffirm your worth, to choose love over fear, to choose peace over conflict, to choose joy over sorrow. And as you do, you will find that life begins to flow with greater ease, with greater grace. So, take this truth into your heart, into your bones, into the very fabric of your being. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of every blessing the universe has to offer. And when you embrace that truth, when you stand fully in the love that is your birthright, you will experience a life that is nothing short of miraculous. Now, as you stand in your full divine identity, feel the weight of the world lifting from your shoulders. Feel the burden of self-doubt, of guilt, of fear dissolving into the air. Feel the embrace of the universe as it welcomes you home to your true self. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are a part of something far greater than you can fully comprehend, a force of love, a force of light, a force of creation. And when you align with this force, when you align with the love that resides within you, you become unstoppable. In this moment, let go of all that no longer serves you. Let go of the doubts, the fears, the limiting beliefs that have kept you small. Let go of the past, for it no longer holds power over you. You are free. You are whole. You are enough. And as you step forward into the world, know that you do so as the full embodiment of love, as the full embodiment of your divine purpose. This is your moment. This is your time to rise, to shine, to own your truth, and to live the life you were always meant to live. Embrace it. Claim it. You are not just a person. You are the divine in human form. And it is time for you to step into that truth with every fiber of your being. So, take a deep breath and let this truth settle deep into your soul. You are worthy. You are loved. You are enough. And as you embrace this, you will find that the world around you begins to reflect the love and peace that you now carry within. Now go forth knowing that you are no longer searching for yourself. You are here. You are home. You are whole. You are free. And this is just the beginning. There is a silent song humming through the cosmos, a vibration so pure, so ancient, that it existed long before the first breath of time. And this song, this eternal current, is what responds to the frequency you emit. You are not separate from it. You are not apart from the universe. You are of it. You are made of it. Your essence is energy. And that energy carries a frequency, one that speaks, even when your mouth is closed, even when your thoughts are chaotic, even when your heart is breaking. And the universe listens not to your words, but to your vibration. You may have been taught that the world is happening to you, But the deeper truth, the one whispered to the soul when it is still, is that life is happening through you. It mirrors you, reflects you, echoes back to you, not your circumstances, but your consciousness. Not your struggle, but your state. You are not a powerless observer floating in a chaotic sea. You are a powerful creator immersed in a field that responds to what you are being. And what you are being is everything. Not what you're doing, not what you're hoping, but what you are. There is a field of energy around you that is constantly broadcasting a signal. That signal is your dominant emotion. It is your core belief. It is the story you keep silently telling yourself. And the universe, in all its infinite wisdom and non-judgmental compassion, simply aligns with it. It doesn't judge your frequency. It doesn't decide whether you're worthy or not. It simply responds. If you are living in fear, it will meet you with more reasons to be afraid. If you are living in love, it will offer you more to love. If you are rooted in scarcity, life will echo back lack. If you are grounded in gratitude, life will mirror abundance. This is not punishment or reward. This is resonance. The universe is not a parent with favorites, nor is it a system of reward points for good behavior. It is vibration, and vibration cannot be tricked. You cannot fake alignment. You cannot affirm over a wound that hasn't been healed. You cannot chant joy from a soul that has not yet made peace. Because the universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your signal. So the real journey, the sacred work, is not in begging the universe for better, but in becoming better aligned with who you truly are beneath the noise. And who you truly are is light, is love, is divine presence in a temporary form. You don't need to get anything from life. You only need to become what life responds to. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let us stop for a moment and ask the real question. What signal am I sending out into the field right now? Is it the frequency of resentment, of comparison, of fear, self-doubt, and trying to be enough? Or is it the quiet, anchored presence of someone who remembers even for a moment that they are not this mind, this emotion, this body, this history, but the one witnessing it all? Because that shift from identification with the ego to identification with the soul is the shift that changes everything. You see, the ego wants to manipulate the universe. It says, if I do this, then I should get that. It bargains, it pleads, it performs, it pretends, but the soul does not bargain. The soul remembers. The soul radiates. The soul does not need to force life into shape. It simply returns to its true frequency, and life takes form around it. This is the art of surrender. Not giving up, but tuning in. Not efforting, but aligning. Not striving, but allowing. The rose does not open by force. It opens by being in harmony with the season. So must you. There is nothing more magnetic than a being who has returned to their natural frequency. They do not beg, they do not chase, they do not prove. They simply become the embodiment of what they once thought they needed to seek. And then life bends around them effortlessly, like gravity answering its source. The universe responds not to your need, but to your being. Not to your pain, but to your peace. Not to your desire, but to your wholeness. And you are already whole. But somewhere along the way, you believed otherwise. Somewhere, you inherited the idea that you must strive, must hustle, must become more as though the infinite could be measured in worth. And in doing so, you moved from presence to pretense, from frequency to friction, from flow to force. But your soul remembers the truth. It remembers what it feels like to rest in the now, to be in the moment without agenda, to breathe without resistance, to love without condition, to trust without knowing. And when you return to this place, not in theory, but in being, everything changes. Because the universe cannot help but meet you where you are. And where you are vibrationally is always creating what comes next. Let this not frighten you, let it free you. Because it means you are not at the mercy of fate or karma or broken history. You are not the victim of some random algorithm in the sky. You are the author of resonance, the chooser of frequency, the mirror to which all things are drawn. So if you want more love, be the love that no longer waits. If you want more abundance, embody the gratitude that already sees it everywhere. If you want peace, be still and know you are not the storm. You are the sky it moves through. When your frequency rises, your life cannot stay the same. Not because you manipulated the external, but because you transfigured the internal. You alchemized your energy. You didn't chase, you tuned. You didn't fight, you surrendered. You didn't shout, you harmonized. And so the entire orchestra of your existence changed keys. You are not meant to push the river. You are meant to remember that you are the river. You are the stream that flows through valleys of experience, over stones of challenge, under bridges of doubt, and still you move forward, naturally, guided not by force, but by the silent pull of your own divine current. When you resist what is, you create dissonance in your frequency. But when you accept what is, you become powerful in your flow. And the universe ever so gently reorients to meet you there in the field of surrender where miracles bloom. Your frequency is your signature. It is not what you say about yourself. It is not the mask you wear or the image you curate. It is the hum beneath your silence. It is the truth that pulses underneath every smile, every thought, every breath. And the universe reads this with perfect accuracy, not to judge, but to align. You are not being punished by your life. You are being tuned by it. Every difficult moment, every closed door, every loss is not a cosmic insult. It is a compassionate response to what no longer matches the higher signal you were born to become. When you learn to listen inward instead of outward, you begin to hear the whispers of frequency before they become the shouts of fate. The soul always speaks before the suffering begins, but most of us wait. We wait for pain to teach us what presence could have shown us in stillness. We wait until our bodies break down before we rest. We wait until we're alone to understand the need for self-love. We wait until we're depleted to realize we were chasing from a frequency of emptiness. But the universe never rushes you. It waits too patiently, lovingly for you to come back to your vibration. And what is your vibration, truly, when all the noise is cleared? It is peace. Not the kind found in a quiet room, but the kind that radiates from a quiet heart. It is joy. Not the temporary high, but the steady flame that burns even in the rain. It is love. Not the transaction of affection, but the unconditional remembrance that you are what you seek. There are no shortcuts to frequency. You cannot meditate your way into joy while secretly resenting the world. You cannot visualize abundance while clinging to fear. The inner world is precise. It does not lie. And that is its beauty. That is its power. Because it means your transformation is not dependent on the external. You can shift your frequency in this moment, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Take a breath. Deep, unforced, honest, and feel for just this breath what it means to be enough without becoming more, to be worthy without proof, to be loved without condition. Now feel what rises. If it's resistance, that's okay. Let it speak. Let it move. For nothing lowers your frequency like the repression of truth, and nothing raises it like the courageous return to self. You do not need to earn your way into alignment. You simply need to remove what no longer belongs. Let go of the guilt that was never yours. Release the shame that came from someone else's pain. Lay down the identity that was built to survive, not to thrive. You are not your mask. You are not your wounds. You are not your past. You are the presence beneath all of it. And presence is the highest frequency of all. When you walk into a room as presence, you don't have to say a word. People feel it. Children sense it. Animals are drawn to it. Nature responds to it. Because you are no longer emitting the static of separation, you are radiating the coherence of truth. You are no longer pretending, you are being. And in being, you become magnetic to everything that matches that vibration. Have you ever wondered why things fall apart when you finally choose yourself? Why relationships shift when you return to inner peace? Why doors close when you start walking in alignment with your soul? It's not because you're being punished, it's because your frequency changed, and what once resonated no longer fits. The old must fall away, not as loss, but as proof of rebirth. Let it go. Let them go. Let what no longer vibrates with your truth be released, not with anger, but with gratitude for showing you what you are not. You don't need to understand everything. You only need to trust that your energy is a compass, and when it is clear, it will guide you not to comfort, but to truth, not to ease, but to expansion. And expansion often requires the shedding of skins, the unraveling of illusions, the death of who you thought you were. But this is not a tragedy. This is grace in motion. This is the universe saying, you are becoming more you than you have ever been. And so the question becomes, what frequency are you willing to live in now? Because the universe isn't waiting for your perfection. It's responding to your intention. It's not judging your flaws. It's aligning with your vibration. It's not testing your worth. It's reflecting your belief. Every thought you hold, every emotion you feed, every story you rehearse is an energetic instruction to life, not in punishment, in partnership. The field is intelligent, it is alive, and it is listening. When you speak, I am, the universe completes the sentence. I am broken, and it echoes back pain. I am healing, and it brings the teachers. I am whole, and it aligns the world to mirror it. So what are you claiming with your energy today? Not what are you saying, what are you being? If your mind is anxious, but your heart is present, listen to the heart. If your ego is screaming, but your soul is whispering, follow the whisper. For it is in the stillness beneath the noise where your true frequency resides, waiting for you to come home. Come home to the knowing that nothing outside of you is more powerful than what is within you. Come home to the silence that is not empty, but full of knowing, full of clarity, full of God. The mind will say you need to fix your life, rearrange your circumstances, hustle harder, prove something. But the soul knows you do not need to chase alignment. You need only to return to the place where you stop being honest with yourself. And in that return, your frequency begins to rise. It rises not through effort, but through authenticity. It rises not through performance, but through presence. It rises when you stop trying to be what you think the world wants and start being what your spirit already is. You've been taught to chase vibration with achievement, but the truth is, you raise your vibration by releasing. Not by adding more, but by subtracting what no longer serves. Let go of the beliefs that bind you. Let go of the story that says you are small, unworthy, alone. That story was a survival strategy, not a reflection of your divinity. And the universe has never responded to your wounds. It has only responded to the energy those wounds created. So, if you are ready for life to meet you differently, Meet yourself differently first. Speak to yourself with reverence. Think of yourself as divine. Treat your thoughts as seeds, for what you plant in the soil of your mind becomes the forest of your experience. Energy cannot lie. What you believe deep down becomes the blueprint of what the universe returns to you. And belief is not a sentence, it is a frequency. You can say, I am worthy 1,000 times, but if your energy says, I am still seeking proof, the field will respond to the seeking, not the words. So the real work, the sacred path, is to live as if your worth is not in question. Not to pretend, but to remember, to strip away every layer that ever told you otherwise, the beliefs that came from others, the shame that was inherited, the doubt that was absorbed from a world that forgot its own light. These are not yours. They were never yours. You were not here to carry them, you were here to transmute them. You are here to alchemize fear into presence, guilt into grace, and confusion into clarity. And the moment you choose to stand in your truth, the entire frequency of your life shifts. You've seen it. You've felt it. Those moments when you finally let go and suddenly things align. The phone call comes, the door opens, the path clears. Why? Because you didn't force life. You stopped resisting yourself. You let go of what kept you small. And in doing so, you matched the field of miracles that has been waiting for you all along. Miracles are not exceptions. They are reflections of alignment. You don't need to perform to be worthy of one. You need only to become the frequency of one. Become the vibration of love, and love will meet you in forms you never imagined. Become the vibration of peace, and chaos will no longer find a home in you. Become the vibration of wholeness, and nothing outside of you will have the power to break you again. This is not spiritual poetry. This is energetic law. The universe operates on resonance, and you, beloved, are a tuning fork of creation. If you are surrounded by noise, confusion, or lack, look not at the world, but within. Where's the noise in you? What story are you still playing on repeat? What belief are you still breathing life into that no longer aligns with your divine nature? Dare to pause. Dare to go inward. The world will pull you 1,000 different ways, but the soul only pulls one way, home. And home is not a place. Home is a frequency. It's the frequency of God within you. The still, unwavering hum of the infinite that has always been there beneath your pain, beneath your past, beneath your striving. You do not need to build your worth. You need only to uncover it. Strip away the noise. Let go of what isn't true. And feel, even now, what begins to awaken. This is the return. This is the healing. This is the frequency that shifts everything. You don't need the world to change for you to feel different. You need to feel different, and then the world begins to change. This is not a bypassing of reality. It is the deeper reality. For you are not just flesh and bone. You are vibration. You are light in motion, and the universe responds to that. The external is just the echo. The internal is the origin. So tend to your energy with care. Speak to your thoughts like you would a sacred child. Forgive your past with the softness of someone who has remembered the truth. Your energy is your power. Protect it, honor it, align it, and you will begin to experience a life that matches not your history, but your healing. You are not here to repeat cycles. You are here to transmute them. You are not here to beg life for blessings. You are here to radiate so brightly that blessings become inevitable. This is not arrogance. This is remembrance. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. Not the labels, not the name, not the roles or the wounds or the masks, but the presence behind all of it, the field of light that watches without judgment, the stillness that listens beneath the noise. That is you. And when you live from that place, you begin to emit a frequency so pure that the universe cannot help but respond in kind. It must, because you are it, and it is you. You are not meant to control the universe, you are meant to collaborate with it, but collaboration begins with clarity. Not clarity of outcomes, but clarity of energy. The most important question you can ask yourself is not, what should I do, but what am I radiating right now? Because your frequency does not lie. And life in its unending compassion will keep showing you what lives beneath the surface of your own awareness, not to shame you, but to free you. Every relationship that triggers you, every delay that frustrates you, every closed door that confuses you, these are not punishments, they are invitations. Opportunities to pause and ask, what am I being asked to release so that I can rise into a higher alignment? You see, the old self, the wounded self, the story-built self wants resolution through control. It wants to fix, force, and figure it all out. But the true self, the soul, wants resolution through resonance. It knows that the healing of your outer world begins with the coherence of your inner one. So you must begin to see everything not as happening to you, but as arising from you. Not in blame, never in blame, but in sacred responsibility. This is the frequency of a conscious creator. Not one who escapes life, but one who co-creates it with divine awareness. Because the more you attune to your true vibration, the more you become unshakable by what happens around you. Storms may come, but you no longer become them. Loss may arrive, but you no longer identify with lack. Uncertainty may rise, but you no longer abandon yourself to fear. This is frequency mastery. And it does not come from escaping the world. It comes from returning so deeply to the truth of who you are that the world can no longer distort your signal. You become the still point, the unmoved mover, the eye in the center of the storm. And in that stillness, the universe listens. It listens not because you are louder. It listens because you are clearer. It listens because you have dropped the noise, the need, the narrative, and you are simply being what you were always meant to be, a conscious emanation of love. This, beloved, is your natural state. Love is not something you earn. It is what you are when the noise is gone. And when you radiate from that place, the place of nothing to prove, nothing to chase, nothing to fear, the universe opens in ways you could never orchestrate from the mind. Doors swing wide. People arrive like divine appointments. Healing rushes in without effort. And peace becomes your resting place, not a fleeting destination. This is not a fantasy. This is the real world as seen through the frequency of soul. Let go of the belief that the world must change first, that people must apologize, that conditions must improve, that your body, your bank account, your relationships must reach some imagined perfection before you feel whole. No, the secret is this. When you feel whole first, the world begins to rearrange itself around your new vibration. Because frequency is creative. It generates experience. It doesn't wait, it initiates. So take the pressure off trying to get everything right. You don't need to perfect your outer life. You need only to become congruent in your inner world, to live in harmony with what you truly believe, to think thoughts that feel like peace, to feel emotions that echo your truth, to embody the energy of what you wish to experience, and then watch life respond, not in days, in moments, because alignment is not about time, it's about presence. Time is only needed when you're still fighting the frequency of what is. But presence collapses time. It opens portals. It reveals pathways that the mind cannot see. So breathe, sink into your body, into your now, into this one sacred breath. You are here. And here is the only place miracles can happen. There comes a point on the spiritual path where effort becomes surrender and seeking becomes seeing. You begin to realize that you do not need to chase answers. You need only to become quiet enough to hear them. They are already within you. The wisdom, the peace, the clarity, it's not outside, waiting in some future version of your life. It is here, in this breath, in this now. And the only thing keeping you from it is the noise of resistance. Let it go. Let go of the timelines that pressure you. Let go of the expectations that confine you. Let go of the need to be more than what you already are. You are not here to prove your divinity. You are here to embody it. To walk into a room with a soft presence that shifts the air not by force but by frequency. To move through this world with a quiet knowing that says, I am not my story, I am not my fear, I am not my past, I am presence, I am love, I am light. You don't have to shout that truth. You don't even have to say it. You simply have to be it. And being it means trusting that the frequency you carry is the frequency that leads. When you walk as wholeness, life mirrors wholeness. When you rest in gratitude, the universe opens new pathways. When you drop into stillness, clarity emerges without effort. You begin to see life not as something to control, but something to collaborate with. You begin to sense that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, not always in the way the mind wants, but in the way the soul needs. And in that surrender, your frequency stabilizes. It no longer jumps with circumstance. It no longer reacts to every trigger. It no longer depends on validation or control or certainty. It becomes steady, grounded, unshakable. And from that space, miracles flow. Not because you forced them, but because you became them. Because miracles are not events, they are frequencies. And you, beloved, are the tuning fork. You are the transmitter. You are the divine channel through which life expresses itself in form. So live like it, think like it, love like it, speak like it, walk like it, breathe like it. The universe is not waiting to bless you. It is waiting to recognize itself in you, to feel the signal of presence radiating from your being, to align with your soul's signature, not your ego's plan. You don't need more effort. You need more presence, more peace, more inner clarity, more moments of silence where you remember, I am already what I seek. This is the ultimate shift. From becoming to being, from doing to radiating, from striving to surrender. And in that surrender, life unfolds with grace. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time, not because you manipulated the map, but because you matched the vibration of alignment. You'll be met by the right people, not because you chased them, but because you became a match for the energy they carried. You'll manifest beauty, not as a trick of manifestation techniques, but as a natural extension of the frequency of wholeness within you. Because energy doesn't lie. And you, when you remember your light, are the most powerful force in creation. Not powerful in the way of the world. Powerful in the way of peace, in the way of presence, in the way of God. So, slow down. The world may rush, but your soul never does. Presence has no urgency. Truth has no timeline. And love has no conditions. And when you live like that, when you live as if your soul is the leader, the universe has no choice but to respond in harmony. It must, because it is you. You are not separate. You are the wave and the ocean. You are the light and the source of light. You are the breath and the one who breathes. You are the prayer and the answer. The vibration you hold is your real power, not your resume, not your story, not your plans, your frequency. And when you choose peace, You tune your life to a higher octave of existence, one that doesn't need proof, only presence. One that doesn't chase, only flows. One that doesn't resist, only trusts. Let this be your new way of being. Not something you do once, but something you return to again and again and again until it becomes your resting place, your home, your essence. Let the world do what it does. You hold your frequency. Let others misunderstand. You keep loving anyway. Let the path twist. You stay present anyway. Let time pass. You remain timeless in your trust. Because the universe responds not to your pressure, but to your peace. Not to your control, but to your coherence. Not to your fear, but to your faith. And when you radiate from that place, steady, anchored, aligned life becomes a mirror of your liberation, a mirror of your healing, a mirror of your true self, awakened, whole, divine. This is the frequency of God. And you, dear soul, are its echo in form. So be still. And know, you are not waiting for the universe to change. The universe is waiting for you to remember who you already are. And it will respond, not because you begged, but because you finally believed. Because the moment you return to your true vibration, the entire cosmos rises to meet you there. In truth, in light, in love, in presence, always and forever.